Gabimaru, a ninja once feared by all, now sentenced to death by the high authorities. The executioner raises his blade. He swings straight toward Gabimaru's neck. And then, something impossible happens. The sword shatters, and Gabimaru does not receive a single scratch. He returns to his prison cell, where we learn that Gabimaru was trained as a shinobi since he was a child, and has developed a superhuman body because of his training. A woman named Sagiri documents the event. The next day, the Lord orders the executioner to burn Gabimaru at the stake. They set him on fire, covering his body in flames, but after a moment, they see his eyes staring at them through the fire, and the Lord becomes frustrated. The following day, the Lord orders his men to have Gabimaru torn apart by bulls. They attach his legs to two bulls, but he easily overpowers them with his legs, and the bulls become exhausted. Sagiri approaches him, saying he appears to be resisting the execution, and asks him why he wanted to leave the village. That evening, an observer warns Sagiri about Gabimaru, saying he is a hollow man who killed 20 people before he was arrested. Sagiri wonders why a hollow man would fight so hard, even killing 20 men. In his prison cell, we learn that Gabimaru has actually been resisting the executions, but he decides to end everything the next day. During his next execution, he is boiled in hot oil, but he survives. He believes he should have no attachments, and wonders why he cannot die. The Lord is terrified and wants it to end, but Sagiri informs him that new arrangements have been made. They escort Gabimaru through a tunnel. The Lord laughs, thinking Gabimaru is finally about to die. He is brought to a room where Sagiri is waiting. The Lord reveals that she is a sword tester and executioner of the Yamada Asaemon clan, and that she can behead him with a single strike. Gabimaru imagines her cutting off his head and realizes she is the real thing. He breaks his restraints. Sagiri attacks, but he dodges. Gabimaru is shocked to see that his neck has been cut. Sagiri continues her attacks as he evades. She tells him he lied about his wife, and that he actually loves her, which is why he cannot allow himself to die. Gabimaru realizes this and remembers how his time with his wife made him softer. He grabs a sword and fights her. Sagiri asks why he keeps lying to himself. He says she knows nothing about his world, and claims he is hollow. Gabimaru gains the upper hand. Sagiri shows him a pardon that will clear his crimes and grant the shogun's protection. The condition is that he must travel to a mysterious land and retrieve the elixir of life. The land is called Shinsenkyo. A previous expedition returned with a boat full of flowers and a body transformed by strange growths. The shogun decides to send death row criminals to the island. If they succeed, they will be pardoned. Sagiri believes Gabimaru is the best candidate. She tells him his wife is waiting, and this is his only chance to return to her. The Lord orders the guards to attack, but Gabimaru uses his ninjutsu and defeats them. He agrees to join the expedition. Sagiri also struggles with her role as an executioner, haunted by the lives she has taken. She learns that strength means carrying the weight of those lives. 10 criminals are chosen for the mission. Each is assigned an executioner to monitor them. They are told that only those who return with the elixir will be pardoned. Anyone who tries to escape will be executed. Before departure, the criminals are forced to kill each other to reduce their numbers. Violence breaks out. Gabimaru remains calm and untouched. Sagiri realizes his strength comes from his resolve to live. The final group boards a ship and travels to Shinsenkyo. When they arrive, the island looks beautiful, but something feels wrong. Gabimaru believes the elixir is real, but survival will be difficult. Their supplies will only last 3 days. Other criminals begin hunting each other. A warrior named Kyan attacks Gabimaru. Even with his hands restrained, Gabimaru defeats him. Kyan's executioner then beheads him and returns to the ship. He warns Sagiri that the island will turn the criminals against each other until only the strongest remain. The journey into the island begins. We see Aiz tying their boat to a tree when his criminal Rokuroda gets hungry and suddenly attacks him. He tries to defend himself, but his sword is shattered, and he ends up being eaten by Rokuroda. Some of the other criminals meet their end, as Kisho explains that Maru will be added since they are expendable, revealing that they are recruiting people from Gabimaru's village, as well as the Amana clan. As he leaves, Kisho warns Sagiri not to let her guard down, and she starts to wonder about Gabimaru's true character. At that moment, Gabimaru suddenly attacks her, but she manages to push him back. The chief taught Gabimaru that emotions make a person weak, and he won't be able to protect anything unless he is strong. He exchanges blows with Sagiri as he thinks about this, and Sagiri informs him that killing her is against the rules. But Gabimaru says he needs to find the elixir before the other shinobis from his village arrive, seeing her as a hindrance. He continues to attack Sagiri, who thinks he should be executed immediately, but she finds herself hesitating, and we learn that Gabimaru has the same problem, not knowing why he can't bring himself to kill her. He breaks Sagiri's sword, and he is about to cut her down, but she uses her sheath to defend herself. Gabimaru eventually comes out on top, ready to deal the finishing blow, but he struggles to finish her off, admitting he still has emotions left, and he starts crying, thinking he has become weak. Sagiri tells him it's not weakness, but the seed of strength, as she believes that not fleeing from his emotions is strength. She decides to overlook his behavior, wanting to see him face his emotions and reclaim his life. Meanwhile, the criminal Tamiya realizes his hand has been stung by a butterfly, and he recalls what happened to the man who returned from the expedition, so he quickly slices his hand off and kills the insect. His executioner Fuchi is confused by this, but Tamiya shows him the human-faced butterfly, saying that it's not from their world. At that moment, his severed hand transforms into flowers, and more creatures appear around them, including a giant abomination. Meanwhile, Gabimaru and Sagiri are also surrounded, with a fish monster standing before them, so he tells her to stand back, preparing to take it on. In a flashback, we learn that Tamiya was an extremely skilled swordsman, and he agreed to become the officer of a certain mord. One day, he has a drink with his lord, but he hears a comment which makes him upset. So he ended up destroying the mansion's gate and killing his lord, resulting in his arrest. We see Tamiya with Fuchi as they arrive on the island, and Tamiya notices how his executioner has tools for dissections. Fuchi explains that the Amana clan also dissects bodies to help produce effective medicines. The fish creature uses its arms to attack Gabimaru, but he easily evades and kicks the monster's head. However, the creature slams him against the ground. Gabimaru quickly recovers as he remembers the shinobi rule, which states that he must not fight an unknown enemy. He thinks about retreating, but the creature suddenly restrains him, smashing his body against the trees before throwing him away. Sagiri is surprised he is actually injured, and they think they should run away, but they soon realize there are giants approaching them from all directions. Wanting to survive, Gabimaru goes berserk, using his ninjutsu to destroy a giant's head, while Sagiri watches in awe, thinking about how dangerous the job is. A giant suddenly attacks her from behind, which she evades, but centipede monsters grab onto her, restricting her movement as the giant prepares to strike. Gabimaru cuts the giant's arm, allowing him to save Sagiri, but this snaps him out of his berserk state. The fish monster is about to attack them, but the executioner named Genji arrives and takes out the creature. A ninja named Yuzuri joins them, calling Gabimaru impressive for killing all the monsters by himself. Sagiri wonders why she has two executioners with her, so Genji explains how he was assigned to another criminal, who was killed by her. So because of this, he concluded that one executioner may not be able to control her, so he decided to join them. However, Gabimaru finds the explanation weird, so they conclude that he must have been seduced. The other executioner introduces himself as Senna. Yuzuri reveals she has plenty of information, telling them that the real danger on the island is the human-faced butterfly, which has hallucinogens and poison. She explains how she got the information, saying she tested the bugs on another criminal, who she ended up killing. But suddenly, she collapses. In a flashback, we see a man named Toma, who is about to become an executioner. Aizen tells him he should take the final step by killing a criminal, and to think about which execution would be suitable. Toma says he has a request. He goes to his brother Chobei, telling him he knows how to make the magistrate's men stop pursuing them. Back in the present, the brothers are shocked to see 3 giant creatures standing before them. Chobei immediately attacks them, as Toma explains that his brother's strength is his ability to quickly understand situations. We learn that the brothers lived in poverty after their parents died, and were later taken in by bandits. While with the bandits, Chobei somehow controlled the situation, and he eventually became the Bandit King. He cuts down a giant, but his knife breaks. He runs away with Toma, but a giant grabs onto Toma's hair. Chobei returns with an axe. Chobei gets hit in the face by a staff, and the monster tells them that murder is a sin. The other creatures start talking to them. Toma believes they're in hell, but Chobei starts cutting through the creatures, and he manages to defeat all of them. Chobei thinks that the elixir must be real, since there are monsters protecting it. So he decides to take out everyone on the island and take the elixir for themselves. Sagiri regains consciousness, and Jinji tells them they're safe in a cavern. He informs Sagiri she was poisoned by the butterfly's scales, but she immediately gets back up, wanting to monitor Gabi Mario. She leaves the cavern, and she sees Gabi Mario preparing dinner, while Sena fixes their torn clothes. While having dinner, Gabi Mario reveals he scouted the island, and he learns something about the flora. He says he found several flowers resembling the man they were shown. This makes them conclude that the people who went missing have now turned into plants on the island. Sagiri wasn't able to find anything that looks like the clue they were given, but Sena suggests they shouldn't rely too much on the illustration, since the officials don't know much about the island. Sagiri notices how the creatures on the island had an animal part stacked on top of humanoid forms. Sena adds that they were items that seemed religious. Later that day, Jinji tells Sagiri to return to the mainland because he believes she isn't strong enough to survive. However, Sena thinks the return trip wouldn't be so easy, since most people don't return from the island. We meet the executioner Tenza as he tries to escape the island with Narugi. They eventually stumble upon a ship, but as they get closer, they realize that the ship has been destroyed. Tenza speculates the ships all attempted to leave the island. They see creatures moving around them. Tenza pulls out his sword, but a sea monster attacks them, forcing them to jump out of their boat. They land on a shipwreck. More tentacles appear around them. Tenza slices through them as they search for a usable ship. Narugi wonders if she is being punished. Narugi remembers when she led a group of samurai to her village. They ended up wiping her whole village out. But the men spared her, planning to use her to find the other villages. While she was locked up, Tenza found her. Knowing she is innocent, he showed her the pardon for her. As they run, they come across Kisho, who is now transforming into flowers, but a tentacle cuts him in half. Kisho's body reminds Narugi about her dead grandfather. This makes her fall to her knees, telling Tenza to escape without her. Tenza defends her from the tentacles. He asks her if she wants to die. Narugi realizes she wants to survive, so Tenza gives her a sword. They fight through the tentacles together, allowing them to reach a boat, which they use to return to the island. They realize that the currents prevent them from escaping. Sea monsters seem to surround the island, so they decide they will need to gather allies for the return trip. Meanwhile, Jinji tells Sagiri to sail home. But Sena thinks she could help if Gabimaru needs to be stopped, saying he seems to have changed after spending time with her. In the evening, she goes to Gabimaru. He asks if she's feeling better, because he knows the wound he gave her made the insect poison act quickly. He reveals how Sagiri calmed him down. Gabimaru claims she is stronger than him, but he doesn't know how to explain it to her. He tells her that experience can help her realize her strength. The next day, Sagiri tells Gengi she won't be leaving, so he pulls out his sword, trying to scare her, but she instantly disarms him. Genji retrieves his sword as he reprimands her. Then Rokuroda suddenly appears behind him, and he gets blown away. As a child, Rokuroda had an insatiable appetite. He loved playing with things using his hands. But eventually, he went on a frenzy and ate everyone from his village. Rokuroda targets Sagiri, but Gabimaru kicks him away. Rokuroda gets back up. Gabimaru sees him as a dangerous man, wondering how his kick didn't hurt him. He remembers how he was trained to analyze the enemy's abilities, so he decides to observe his opponent before making a move. Rokuroda uproots a tree and throws it at him. Gabimaru dodges. He thinks Rokuroda is stronger than him, so he asks for Yuzuri's help. But she reminds him she is only responsible for gathering information, as she starts cheering for him. Rokuroda wildly swings at him. Gabimaru evades, thinking he could die in a single hit. Rokuroda tries launching rocks at his enemy. It has no effect. Seeing this, Gabimaru takes out his sash, using ninjutsu to make it as hard as steel. Even this is ineffective. He uses his other techniques. Nothing works. Sagiri tries to treat Genji's wounds, but he tells her to stop, knowing he can't be saved. He tells her to run. She refuses to leave him. She tells him not to give up. Genji realizes she has chosen her way of life, so he gives her his sword, explaining how a warrior's sword is his soul. He wants her to kill Rokuroda. He now sees her as one of them. Gabimaru is running out of options. Suddenly, Rokuroda's finger is cut off. Sagiri joins the fight. Gabimaru sees her timing is perfect. They need to decapitate him, but he's too tall, so he tells Sagiri to go for the leg. As Gabimaru deflects Rokuroda's attack, Sagiri strikes his leg. It does nothing. She falls back as he swings at her. Sagiri realizes her mistake. She was too aggressive. She releases her emotions. Rokuroda strikes again. Gabimaru evades, but his leg is sprained. Sagiri strikes Rokuroda's arm. Still nothing. She realizes she must strike the gaps between his bonds to land a decisive blow. She needs him hunched over. Suddenly, Rokuroda cries out. A powerful scream overwhelms their senses. He strikes Gabimaru before he can react, slamming him into the ground. Gabimaru survives, but he drops to his knees, coughing blood. Rokuroda moves in for the finishing blow. Sagiri steps in front of him. She deflects the attack with ease. Everyone is shocked. As she fights, Sena reveals the truth. Sagiri is the lowest-ranked executioner, because as a woman she was not considered suitable to lead their clan. But in pure skill, she is better than most of them. Rokuroda loses his footing. Sagiri moves to finish him, but he jumps away. Gabimaru comes up with a plan. He uses fire ninjutsu, throwing flaming projectiles. Everything around them begins to burn. Yuzuri runs, realizing the plan. Gabimaru is going to suffocate Rokuroda with smoke. It works. Rokuroda drops to his knees, gasping. Sagiri prepares the final strike. He tries to attack, but Gabimaru forces his arm down. Sagiri executes him, but the look in his eyes changes everything. Sagiri realizes he lived a misunderstood life. He never knew his own strength. He killed people by accident. He only wanted to play. Gabimaru worries the fire will attract monsters. They leave the area, leaving Genji behind. They hide as giants approach. Gabimaru suggests moving toward the direction the monsters came from. It might lead them to the elixir. They reunite with Yuzuri and Senta. All of them are shocked. There is a village on the island. Meanwhile, the brothers move deeper into the forest. They see two beings together. Chobei wonders if they are monsters. The yellow one, Jufa, becomes angry at them for interrupting. Gabimaru questions whether the island's residents are allies or enemies. Then he sees a girl watching them. He runs after her. He catches her and removes her hood. She is a child. Suddenly, a tree monster attacks. The girl runs. Gabimaru chases her. She may know something about the island. He dodges the attack and kicks the creature away. Sagiri follows him. The others stay back to fight. Yuzuri removes Senta's glasses. She tells him she doesn't want him to see her techniques. Then she drinks from a cup. A strange liquid begins to flow from her body. Gabimaru catches up to the girl, grabbing onto her hand. But the girl throws him to the ground. He is shocked. A child should not be able to do that to him. Sagiri runs after the girl, telling her they just want to talk. This makes her stop. Sagiri catches up to her. The girl suddenly tries to punch her. Gabimaru blocks the attack. He realizes the girl's strength is on another level. The impact forces him to step back. He grabs nearby vines, wrapping them around the girl and lifting her into the air. The girl starts crying. They release her. Sagiri gently calms her down. Yuzuri joins them, saying she worked hard to defeat the creature. They gather to decide their next move. Then the tree creature speaks. It tells them to return the girl. It offers to take them to the village and tell them about the elixir. Yuzuri doesn't trust it, but the creature mentions there is a bath in the village. That instantly changes her mind. The creature leads them to the village. It looks abandoned, like a ghost town. The creature says it wasn't like this 1,000 years ago. It brings them to its home. Yuzuri and Sagiri take a bath. The creature gives food to the men. Gabimaru stays alert. He questions the creature about the island and the elixir. As they eat, the creature explains the truth. The island is called Kotaku. It is an island where gods reside. The elixir is real. It is known as Tan. Gabimaru asks where it is. The creature draws 3 circles on the floor. They are in the second circle. The elixir lies at the center of the island. That place is called Horai. Gabimaru asks for proof. The creature tells him they will believe once they meet the Tenzin. Beautiful beings, immortal. Elsewhere, Chobei has already cut Jufa in half, but the body regenerates, as if nothing happened. The tree creature explains, the Tenzin are far beyond anything they have faced. It has no reason to lie, because all of them will eventually be killed by the Tenzin. The brothers are defeated. Jufa throws them into a pit. Inside are humans, all transformed into flowers. Toma helps Chobei regain consciousness. The tree explains the truth. The lives of those who become flowers turn into Tan, and those people feel eternal bliss. The creature introduces itself. Its name is Hako. The girl is Mei. They have lived on the island for centuries. Later, Gabimaru and Sagiri enter the bath area. They run into Mei. She panics at first, but Gabimaru calmly says that in his village, everyone shares the bath. Sagiri notices a large scar on Mei's body. Gabimaru remembers his wife. She once told him the importance of proper rest. She helped him bathe. As they leave, Gabimaru refocuses. He cannot afford to relax. In the past, Tenzin grew up in the slums. His parents barely fed him. He survived by stealing. One day, he runs into a group of swordsmen. They mock him. He fights back and defeats them. An executioner named Shion steps in and stops the fight. Back in the present, Tenzin walks along the shore with Nerugi. Suddenly, a Tenzin named Zujin appears. It transforms into a man. It asks about the dead monsters. It wants to know if they are responsible. They try to escape. Zujin instantly catches them. A burst of energy sends Tenzin flying. Nerugi rushes to him. Zujin approaches. Tenzin suddenly slashes its eyes. They regenerate immediately. Tenzin tells Nerugi to run. He launches a rapid combination of attacks. Zujin is sliced apart. He signals her to run, but Zujin regenerates and blocks their path. Suddenly, a sword flies through the air. Shion has arrived. The opening lets them escape. Shion may be blind, but his other senses guide him. They manage to get away. Shion is Tenzin's master. He explains the situation. He tried to leave the island, but he couldn't find a current that leads out. Eventually, he found one. But near it, he sensed a presence unlike anything before. He realized he could not survive alone, so he began searching for allies. He asks Tenzin why he is protecting Nerugi. Tenzin explains, she is innocent, just as Shion once believed in him. Shion accepts this. He agrees to guide them to the current. But suddenly, Zujin appears behind them. Shion rushes forward. His neck is cut. Tenzin attacks. A storm of slashes. Zujin avoids everything. With a single flick of his finger, he creates 4 holes in Tenzin's body. In the past, Shion trained Tenzin. Shion often helped people in need. He saw potential in the boy. He taught him the sword. He told him one day his skill would protect someone important. Tenzin knows he is about to die, but he has finally found something he wants to protect, so he gets back up and starts pounding Zujin with his fists. He tries to do everything he can to help his companions escape, but Zujin unleashes another energy blast, blowing a hole in his stomach. He tries to tell his companions to escape, but he can't because his throat has been damaged. Shion seems to understand what he's saying, and he runs away with Nerugi. Tenzin continues to attack Zujin, and he fights to his last breath, giving the others time to escape. They mourn the death of Tenzin, and Shion swears he will get revenge for him. Back at the village, Senna can't seem to make sense of the information they've gathered so far, and Sugiri tells him to take a break, but he refuses. That evening, Gabimara remembers how it would be dangerous to act without a plan, because there are still too many mysteries they need to solve. But while Senna sleeps during his watch duty, Gabimara leaves, trying to reach Horai. He eventually stops as he hears weird voices, and he reaches an area full of strange trees which appear to be praying. He goes in the direction they are facing, and he finds a giant door, which he thinks could lead to the elixir. But before he can open it, Zujin appears behind him, telling him to leave. He asks Zujin if he can turn humans into elixirs, and Zujin suddenly dashes to attack him, but Gabimara swiftly responds, breaking his arm. He follows up with a powerful kick, breaking Zujin's neck, but it quickly snaps back into place. Gabimara dodges Zujin's attacks and counters with a spinning kick, using his fire technique to light his head on fire. The fire consumes Zujin's body, and Gabimara thinks he has secured victory, but Zujin suddenly punches him, sending him crashing against the wall. Gabimara survives the attack, and they continue their bow as he assesses the situation, wondering how he can defeat the Tenzin. He manages to land a kick, but it gives him a strange feeling, as Zujin coughs up blood, and he wonders why the attack was successful. Zujin changes to his female form, and he starts attacking with a barrage of energy blasts. Gabimara is brought to his knees, but he is determined to succeed in his mission no matter what, so he tanks the blows as he dashes forward, allowing him to close the distance. They exchange blows, with neither of them backing down, as Gabimara plans to destroy Zujin faster than he can heal. And he actually manages to overpower the Tenzin, tearing his body apart. Zujin smiles as his body suddenly transforms into a giant flower monster, which uses a lightning spell, destroying the area around it. Gabimara survives, and he tries to fight back, but he is no match for Zujin's lightning, and his body reaches its limit. The monster continues its assault, and he wakes up in a room with his wife, thinking he was just having a nightmare. But he realizes he is hallucinating, since he is about to die. The monster grabs onto him, as it proceeds to squeeze him to death, but he remembers how he was trained to inflict as much damage as possible before dying, so he unleashes fire from his body, burning the monster's arm before he falls to the ground. Zujin prepares to deal the finishing blow, but Mei appears and protects him with a shield, helping him escape. The next morning, the group searches for Gabimara and Mei. Hako reveals that there are 7 Tenzins, and we see them gathered in one location as they discuss how fierce the humans are. Juthal blames Zujin for failing to take down the humans, blasting his head off as he comments on Zujin's ugly appearance, seeing how he's been using too much towel, and mocks him for using his transformation against a human. The ruler of Kotaku, Rien, stops Juthal, telling him they are a family, and he's the only one who can punish Zujin. Juthal reports how he threw the 2 brothers into the pit, and we see that the brothers were able to escape. Zujin claims he was able to kill Gabimaru, and they all share a drink, which helps Zujin recover his human form. Meanwhile, Gabimaru regains consciousness, and he recalls his encounter with Zujin, thinking there must be a way to defeat the Tenzin. He realizes they are not gods, so they can be killed. Fuji and Tamiya suddenly arrive, as Tamiya comments on his condition, wondering if it's time for him to die. They size each other up, thinking about fighting, but Fuji tells Tamiya they should focus on gathering information, as he pulls out his sword, wanting to get some answers from Gabimaru without killing him. But Gabimaru bows before them, as he proposes working together, and Tamiya tests him by threatening to strike him down. But Gabimaru doesn't move, so they know he's not trying to fool them. Fuji asks him why he wants to do this, so Gabimaru tells them about the Tenzins, and they are surprised to learn that such powerful creatures exist. Fuji doesn't trust him, but Tamiya joins him, wanting to fight the Tenzins, as he reveals how he isn't even interested in the pardon. He learned that Tamiya wants his name to go down in history by defeating the Tenzins, while Fuji wants to dissect their remains. They decide to work together, and Gabimaru is about to give them more information when Mei wakes up. Gabimaru is surprised to see that Mei has grown up in such a short period. She calls out Gabimaru's name, and he realizes she can now talk. He thanks her for saving his life, asking her if she's like the Tenzin. Senna concludes that the religious system on the island is man-made. He thinks the creator of the island just wanted humans who transformed into flowers to return, and he sees it as a clue that could help them find the elixir and escape. Mei tells them about the Tal, which is the power that the Tenzin use. On the other hand, Hako explains that everything in the world is created by the flow of Tal, and it has something to do with the origin of the universe. Despite his explanation, the group still finds it difficult to understand. Neruga tries to ambush Shion, but he disarms her and makes her sheath her sword, saying, monsters appear around them, and Shion senses their presence. He takes them down one by one, while giving Neruga advice for fighting. A group of monsters move toward Gabimaru and his allies, so Tamiya attacks immediately, killing them all at once. He lifts Mei up, telling her to teach him the power of Tal, as more monsters approach. Gabimaru watches the monsters closely, and he notices a silhouette. 2 of the Tenzin discuss how humans merge into flowers after being thrown into the pit, allowing them to harvest Tan efficiently. They believe escaping the pit is impossible, because the transformed humans will stop anyone who tries to climb out. He forces his way through, and the brothers finally reach the surface. Chobei says he will kill the Tenzin, explaining that their weakness is their lower body, since he saw one regenerate from that area. Chobei is determined to kill the Tenzin, declaring their weakness lies in their lower body. He points out that they regenerate from there, so he tells Toma they must strike that area. Toma watches in shock, impressed by how quickly his brother reads the situation. Suddenly, a monster appears, but instead of attacking, it speaks. It says it was sent by the Tenzin to investigate. It introduces itself as a doshi. It explains that its kind scouts humans across the island, and that the doshi serve as the right hand of the Tenzin, because they can think, because they can reason. The doshi orders the brothers to return to the pit. Chobei doesn't hesitate. He attacks. He tries to kick it, but the doshi dodges instantly and counters with a brutal punch. Chobei stands firm. He grabs the doshi's arm and rips it off with pure force. But in the next moment, the arm regenerates. Like nothing happened. The doshi summons monsters to overwhelm them. But Toma moves fast. He cuts them all down. While Chobei continues fighting, the doshi watches closely. It senses his Tao, and then it speaks, saying attacks from someone who cannot use Tao are meaningless, because it can regenerate instantly is something. A float notices something, a disturbance in Chobei's Tao, a blind spot. In an instant, it slashes him. Chobei crashes to the ground. The doshi calls humans weak, fragile, and prepares to drag him back to the pit. But suddenly, Chobei moves. He drives his fist straight through the monster's face and stands back up. The doshi is shocked. It cannot understand what just happened. It realizes Chobei is regenerating. It assumes he merged with the plants while trapped in the pit. Chobei smirks. He says he sensed something from the doshi. Something important. Something that might be the key to killing the Tenzin. The doshi attacks again, this time aiming to kill. Chobei blocks it. The impact shatters his arms, but in the next second, they snap back into place. He keeps fighting, blow after blow, and this time, he starts pushing the monster back. The doshi notices it. His Tao is growing, continuously. Chobei doesn't understand what is happening to him. But the doshi does. It says he is changing, turning into something. That is no longer human, but Chobei doesn't care. He says nothing in this world stays the same. We see his past. When the brothers were taken by bandits, they were rejected, seen as weak, because of their past. So Chobei did something extreme. He cut his own eye to prove himself, to show he belonged, and that is how he became one of them. Back to the present, Chobei charges forward. Even as energy blasts slam into him, he doesn't stop. He pushes through the pain, and finally, he lands a hit, directly on the doshi's navel. The monster coughs blood. That confirms it. The navel is its weak point. The doshi jumps back, fires another blast, but Chobei dodges easily. He realizes something. He can see it now. The energy around the doshi's body, and that terrifies the monster. It calls for help, summoning more creatures. But it's too late. Toma has already killed them all. Now, it's just the two of them. The monster gathers towel energy using his hand, but Chobei stomps on it, and he replicates the technique, using it to punch a hole into the doshi's stomach. He senses the doshi's towel, and he realizes it's on the brink of death, so he starts asking questions about the Tenzin. At that moment, Toma becomes worried, as he notices marks on Chobei's body, which look like vines, and they appear to be growing. We learn that the scar on Mei's body is similar. Tommy tries to learn Towel while fighting, asking for Mei's advice, but she tells him he's doing it wrong. They observe Gabimaru as he fights, but Mei notes that he also doesn't get it. Fuji sees Mei as a mystery, wondering who she is, as Gabimaru recalls how the girl used her power to save him, so he concludes she isn't a normal human. The doshi leading the pack recognizes Mei, so he attacks Toma, who manages to block, but he isn't able to stop the monster from taking Mei. The doshi says he has been looking for her, revealing how she was banished from the palace, and she disappeared from Horai. They were forbidden from searching for her, but the monster is happy to stumble upon her. Gabimaru asks what's going on, and the doshi says she doesn't belong with the humans, as he reveals she feeds off of humans, just like the Tenzin. The monster implores Mei to return to Horai, but Mei looks at Gabimaru with a sad look on her face. So he goes to her, saying he doesn't lie to her to cry. The Doshi's colleague appears, and together they summon centipedes and butterflies to their side. Toma tries to attack, but he is immediately stopped by a Tal attack, and the Doshi proceeds to assault them, but they all get pushed back. Gabimaru wonders why they want Mei, so the Doshi explains how she helps them with their Tal training. They reveal there are 5 steps to mastering Tal, and the most important one requires a partner, since it requires the participants to make love. The Doshi explains how all things possess yin and yang energies, and both energies circulate when a male and female join together. The Doshi want her because she possesses the highest quality of yin energy, which can be made to circulate with their yang energy. They also reveal that Mei has the same origins as the Tenzin, but she is inferior because, unlike them, she only possesses yin energy, which is the same reason why she was banished from the palace, leading her as a training partner for the Doshis. They ask Mei to return, but Gabimaru becomes enraged hearing this, refusing to let them have her. The Doshis transform themselves, similar to how Zujin transformed himself into a flower monster. Tommy has struggles against the butterfly monster, while Gabimaru uses his fire technique to destroy his opponent's arm. The monster fires a barrage of Tal attacks, which Gabimaru dodges even though he can't see. The 2 warriors fall back as the butterflies pursue them, but Gabimaru uses a fire-breathing technique to create a firewall. Gabimaru notes how he can now sense Tal vaguely, but he wants to detect it more precisely. At that moment, Fuchi tells them he has deciphered Mei's words, saying their minds must be both strong and weak to see Tal. Mei touches Gabimaru's hands, helping him sense his own Tal, as Fuchi goes on to explain that Tal requires a specific state of mind, and he tells Gabimaru to weaken his mind. This confuses him at first, but he remembers the moment he shared with Sagiri, and he begins to grasp the concept. He prepares to face the monsters, as Mei comments that Gabimaru's Tal is enormous. The Doji attacks him with Tal blasts, but he clearly sees it approaching, dodging all the attacks, and he dashes toward the monster. As Gabimaru closes the distance, the Doji tries to punch him, but he evades as he notes that he can now predict attacks from sensing the movement of one's Tal. The monster follows up, but Gabimaru touches its fist, causing its arm to break, and he lands a kick on both of the monsters. Swami doesn't want to be upstaged, so he charges at the centipede monster, slashing it in half while Gabimaru burns the butterfly Doji.